Right now on Full Custom Garage, Master Metalman Ian Roussel continues the transformation of the cartoon hot rod.
He can make anything out of nothing.
Back of the cab opens.
It wasn't supposed to be like this. Our plan was here. Ian takes it to here.
Mark pulled the engine out, and I could tell this dude is serious.
But when things go wrong,
My heart just sank. Ian's looking at me like, you're right.
and with his client out of the game, Ian switches the lineup.
While Mark's gone, I really want to surprise him. I want to make some progress on his Henry J.
I leave the guy for a day and a half, and I come back, and bam, truly amazing.
With the team back together, it's all hands on deck.
Mark is out of his mind. Johnny is totally charged up about this. There's sawdust everywhere. There's parts and pieces all over the place. We're in the trenches. I don't know what I signed up for this project.
Nobody else is gonna have one.
Mark shows up with a bunch of used parts and shows me a drawing of this cartoon hot rod. He said it was a Volkswagen.
It's a Volkswagen.
First thing I had to do was straighten out the bent frame. Then I needed to cut down the body to fit the proportions of the drawing. And reform the entire roof. From the onset, Mark's been referring to this project as his rat rod. I just think, looking at the drawing, I can go way better. The drawing showing a finished show car, I'm gonna try to go in that direction as much as possible. Looks like a giant cartoon. I built the whole car around this AMC engine, but it's toasted. Yeah, it's trouble. I'm in deep. Here it is, Mark's on his way. He says he's got a new engine, and I got a couple things to show him.
I kind of put a little pressure on Ian when I was over there. I said, okay, I understand about the engine problem. I'm gonna take responsibility for that. I'm gonna get you a new one, and I'm gonna personally drive down there and bring it to you.
Is that record time or what?
Oh, I tell you, man, how you doing?
This guy surprises me. Flies in to Canada, he gets in the truck and drives down to Los Angeles. It's pretty ambitious. I guess you're in a rush.
Oh, man, it was get her done and get her down here for you.
Nice.
I'm pretty excited to show him what we got and to see the body in real life. Now, you ready for some bling? I got a little bling for you.
Ah, that'll work.
Figure that'll work?
That looks just like the engine you brought before, but this one is nice.
This one's out of a 1966 Rambler Ambassador.
It even matches the paint color. That's cool. Mark pulled the engine out, and I could tell this dude is serious. That's definitely the same transmission. I think this will just bolt right in. He's really dialed this engine in. He's all about getting it here. So I'm gonna show him what I've been up to. As soon as you said you were gonna handle that engine, I got real serious.
Holy, are you kidding me? He rolls out this body. Not only is it bodywork done, it's frickin' painted. Oh, man.
Mark was stoked. He saw that blue out in the sun, metal flake shining. I don't think he was expecting me to go that far with it. He was talking about a rat rod. I don't know, this doesn't look like one to me.
This is not a rat rod anymore. This is a frickin' show car. Wow.
I had Johnny send me some vector images of his graphics. He just did a computer-generated thing, and I had templates made at a sticker guy. So it's actually his 5 artwork.
It's killer. Like, you nailed it.
Mark seemed genuinely impressed. I don't think he was expecting it to be that nice. I made the back window open like this. The back of the cab opens.
That's just freaking awesome. You're kind of turning me into a Volkswagen guy, you know? This is number 2 for me.
That could happen to even the best of men. First vehicle I ever built for Mark was this radically chopped VW Bug. He's been a fan ever since. So the good news is we got a great looking engine and we have a great looking body. There's still a ton to do. I'm not gonna believe that engine runs till I hear it.
To prove myself, we had to get this motor in this frame and fire it up.
Mark's really into this. He's been shopping. He says he's got some rims and tires.
You've created it so much like the drawing.
Cool.
I had to come through.
Plan B has arrived.
Yeah, you definitely stepped it up on this. Let me show you what was going on with the other one. All good intentions aside, he sent me a bunch of rusty junk.
Yeah, wow.
This engine was not usable, and it's great. He backed it up. He brought in the freshie. I gave him a quick rundown on what went down with the chassis. He knew I had to modify it, and he was really excited that I made the decision that I did to shorten it up and lower it.
Good choice, as usual, you know.
I think as long as this engine couples up to the drive shaft, then we win.
All right, well, let me grab my tools and
Cool.
let's get started on this bad boy. The biggest problem when the engine scenario first came up is that we had to find an AMC replacement.
At this point, we are fully committed to this engine. The notch in the body is tailored to these cylinder heads and the location of the distributor.
They have an enclosed drive shaft, but there's splines on that have to line up with that. So now we're not sure if the 65 model would line up with the 66. Who frickin' invented this?
Don't put your fingers in there.
No.
I learned that the hard way.
Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, lower down, I guess she'll come together. Here we go.
You know what? This thing fits like it belongs here. I think Mark is really up to something good. Aha! There it is.
There it is.
Fits just like the other one, sir. You got just enough to put a finger in there. It's exactly how the other one fit, the same. You know what, Mark? You're all right. I take back everything I said about you last week. Changed my mind. Man, that looks good. It's like a show car, sir.
Oh, yeah. Now, if it just runs,
Yeah.
I might win a couple more brownie points back from you.
Yeah, it's all fun and games now. Let's put some electricity to it and see what you're really working with. Having an identical engine was really a saving grace. The engine fit perfectly. It was a perfect bolt-in. It looks great. I just need to see it run. Just to get this thing to fire, you know, we hot wired it. Set up a fuel pump, put a couple wires to the starter and the coil, and I just want to fire it off, see what's gonna go on. Prepare for Operation Vacuum Suck.
Okay.
What do we got? Where's the plus? That's the minus, that's the minus.
We're off to an awesome start. We got nothing.
Guess what happened? Nothing. Strike two. Here we go. Mark's off to a record start. Well, the pump worked great when you took it off, right?
Yeah?
Yeah, your track record, man, is like...
Hey, gotta have a little bit of drama.
Uh-huh. Did I hook up the wires wrong? Nope, sure didn't. That's not part of what I do.
Come on.
Uh-huh. He started off with a bunk engine. Now he's got a fuel pump that doesn't seem to be operating.
My heart just sank. You know, okay, the fuel pump's not working. Ian's looking at me like, really?
It's a typical simple thing, you know, those fuel pumps, when they sit around, they tend to not work again, and that was the case here. I'm gonna take care of you, don't worry.
You got plan B for plan B?
Yeah.
He had one, so we moved on to installing his electric fuel pump.
I know the suspense is really getting to you. You're on the edge. Is that tight? There's one last thing I'm gonna give you before we start. Here you go. That's how much faith I have.
Now this is a different coil too, so. But I do
excuse
have
to
the
start.
old original one.
Oh, just one thing, just one other thing
Just
I
one-
have to mention besides the fuel pump. You ready? I'm ready.
In this one day at band camp.
I'm ready. What could possibly go wrong? Aha! Hit the starter, and hey now, it works. All right, man, you're okay after all. You know, I had faith. You're not even gonna need that fire extinguisher today. I think you're good to go, sir. I'm very happy with that. That sounds like a good engine. I think it's on to the next. Johnny's drawing is showing no radiator in the front. You just have this bare grill shell, and that's a cool look. To me, that's the most important factor of the nose of the car. Hiding the radiator in the back is the only way through this. I made all these crazy tubes to get the liquids from the front to the back. This is Crash course in plumbing. I'm having to plumb these lines from the water pump under the vehicle into the radiator. And it sounds pretty easy, but when you realize how cramped and small this car is, there's a lot of bending and fitting. Mark's handling all the stuff I don't want to deal with. That can't be spoken any easier, simpler than that. The nice thing about Mark being here is he's going to handle all of these mechanical elements I don't have to deal with.
I seem to get every dirty job that Ian doesn't like to do, wiring, and which I don't mind. I'm here to help. I'll do whatever he wants me to do.
I'm very busy. He's got time to kill. Even though for me this isn't the most thrilling part of the project, I want to make sure all the mechanics are dialed in before we put the body on. It's an issue of scratching the paint that I don't want to do. I'd say that this thing is ready to put the body on. How do you feel about that, Mark?
I'm in. Let's do it. I'm anxious to get the body on there and stand back and just look at this thing for a minute or two before Ian cracks the whip and we're back at it again.
Wait till you see this getup, Mark. Your prized vehicle is about to be lifted in the most cockamamie, backwoods manner you've ever seen. The way that I work is a little bit different than you'll see in other shops. Open that door, we're going through. So I got this big stick, a couple welding gloves, and a forklift, and we're gonna put his show car together with it.
I'm kind of scratching my head going, really? Is this how we're going to do it? I mean, it seems a little unorthodox and unsafe and not stable.
Mark was a little alarmed with my technique. You know, he's a certified helicopter engineer guy, right? And I don't think they're putting any airframes together in this manner. I got the forklift, I'm on the controls, Mark's balancing the body. The fate of his show car is literally in his hands.
Definitely not a one-man job. I don't know how he was doing it before, but the way the body goes, it's got to come down the back first and kind of hug around the frame, and then the front drops. And if you go straight back, you're out.
This is the whole deal. I've never seen this painted body on the chassis.
That is one sick ride.
Oh, we'll look at it from here.
Oh, yeah. Man.
That is pretty cool.
It wasn't supposed to be like this. Our plan was here. Ian takes it to here. Words can't describe it. It's just so close to the drawing. It's gone from paper to real life. It's a phenomenal piece of fabrication.
This thing's cool, super cool. Once I saw the body on the chassis, it got my mind spinning. I think we should take this thing to the Pomona swap meet on Sunday. It's a week away.
Now he tells me, well, we have to get this thing finished, assembled, and running because we're taking it to Pomona swap meet. And I went, what?
Pomona's just a huge blowout. It's a swap meet, it's a car show, there's cars for sale, there's everything going on. I think he'd really dig it. Putting the body on the frame looked really cool, but there's still a few things missing. The drawing is showing a frame, the actual frame of the vehicle, showing through the fender well. I got a plan. I'm just gonna fake it. Carry on with whatever linkages you're doing. I'm gonna get on this thing, because that's gonna take a little while.
Okay.
As minor a fabrication as this is, I need to have this frame detail come off convincingly. So like most things, I'm gonna start off with a cardboard template. Watch your toes, razor blades. Razor blades in action, easy now. Every time I have cardboard on my hand, he thinks it's food. I don't get it. It's like a, like a pizza box or something. It's too bad dogs don't know how to cook. They could eat all the time. He associates cardboard with a food container. There you go, keep yourself occupied.
Ian's fabrication skills, I mean, phenomenal. He can make anything out of nothing.
I got all this aluminum, and I was thinking about making out of this, but I'm just gonna do a quick test. I want it to look kind of like dimpled holes, not just simple drilled like this. A pro would have a dimple die set. There's a few different ones. One's like a press, one's like a thing with a bolt that you clamp it together. I don't have any of that. How can we do this? I think I have an old piece of plywood. got a top to an acetylene bottle, and I got a BFH. That's a big bargain hammer.
I'm kind of working away, and then there's loud banging going on. So he's in a creative mode, and who knows what's going to pop out of it.
Dimple die. I think we're in business.
With Ian, it all relates back to that drawing. It's like it's embedded in his head. It's becoming that drawing in real life.
The dimple die would naturally want to mar this surface, so it has this plastic sheet on there. So I'm gonna finish out these edges. Probably put some kind of a lip on here and just make a bracket that'll hold it. But you see you got these cool dimples. What's that look like, huh? Looks like the drawing to me, right? The goal today is to get these installed, have all the cosmetic parts ready for final assembly, and I gotta paint the headers. Once you see this in place, it just adds that factor that was missing. When you see the white coming out of the fender well, it's giving you the same feeling as the number 5 logo and the white on the roof. It just brings that color down low in the body. I worked on a couple other projects where there's this amazing glue. It's kind of like a crazy glue, and then it has an activator, so it's an instant cure. So it's pretty trick. You definitely don't want to get it on your fingers. So this will just get held in with 3 screws. There'll be one on the bottom here, and then these 2 tabs get welded to the frame. So it's just on little legs. Stands off 3 inches from the chassis. This thing is perfect, man. Check this out. It looks like the frame is going right through, like it's an actual chassis. Look at that.
Oh, wow. Can't believe you just whipped those up.
Perfect.
That is.
The other fabrication element that's missing is the exhaust headers.
Couldn't find any headers to fit this strange engine as it is, and no need when you have Ian Roussel on the job. He just fabricates what he needs.
I actually built these headers before the car was painted. Mark really liked them, so I explained exactly how it went down. I really liked the way the T-bucket style headers looked in the drawing, and I wanted to mimic them as close as possible. I used 1.5-inch round tube. The first step was just cutting the tubes and welding them to the flanges. Then I used the tubing bender to curve the tube and make it slope back towards the car. The real mark of the craftsman is how these pieces fit up. So just taking small cuts makes it happen. I used the plasma cutter to cut a hole in the main tube to get all the pipes to fit up and actually flow exhaust gas. The whole idea with this fit up is that once it's welded, it just looks clean. You don't see the welds. These things came out great. They look just like the drawing. I ground and sanded out all the welds, and they're ready to paint. I got this ceramic coating that's specifically for exhausts from Eastwood that cures with the heat of the engine. I've used the spray can style high temp paint before, so I was expecting this to come out similar, but as soon as I started spraying it out of the gun, it coated amazingly.
I think this is really cool looking exhaust you fabricated here. This just ties everything together. Unfortunately, I have to leave to go to a helicopter convention.
Mark's gotta leave for a couple days. The car's in a pretty good spot. We're waiting on upholstery, so while Mark's gone, I'm gonna surprise him by doing some work on another one of his projects. This car's in a really good spot, so I really want to surprise Mark by working on his Henry J. This is a 51 Henry J. It's one of the first projects I did for Mark. He dropped it off about a year ago. It's a long-term project for us, and Mark wants to make it like a pro street car. I chopped this car just about 4 inches, but it was way more than that. I had to reform the entire rear of the car, widen certain panels, and then I also welded and smoothed up everything. So there's a lot of work in it, as rough as it looks. I was really happy with the way the chop came out, but I really want to put a roll cage in it before he gets back. It's just been mocked up, laying there under a tarp. This whole car is just a body skin and a bare chassis. It's like a blank canvas. I can do whatever I want in here. The cool factor about this car is there's no drawings, there's no blueprints, it's all me. Mark's planning this to be pro street. In other words, he's driving it every day if he wants, but he can also take it to the track. I want to make this thing look cool, but in the end, it's all about strength. If you bought a generic cage from a catalog, it's designed to fit a number of cars. If I build one that looks like it belongs in this car, then that's cool. It's gotta look custom. The strongest shape you use in a structure like this is the triangle. Every point that gets triangulated is super strong. If you have... Hey, there we go. If you got a square box, it can fold over on itself very easily. But a triangle doesn't fold, right? It's putting leverage around it. The whole idea with the roll cage is to create as many triangulated shapes as possible. The big problem with roll cages is they do take up a certain degree of room inside the compartment. The way that the Henry windshield peaks forward, it's just gonna be like a bar hanging in space. I'm trying to get away from that. So I'm gonna put a little V in the front. And you figure out how the material bends, and you come up with creative plans to fit them inside of the cars as closely to the sheet metal as possible. That way you offer the driver and passenger a maximum amount of room. Sort of like that. Another principal factor in the whole thing is that it has to be modular to a degree. It needs to unbolt from the chassis and also allow the body to slip on and off easily. Every time you join a piece of tubing, especially in a roll cage, you'll want an internal sleeve. That allows the bond to be way stronger than if you just butt welded it. The difference between this project and the cartoon hot rod is that this roll cage is purely functional. So it's kind of rewarding to know that your work is sound, it looks good, it's gonna function. My brain is spinning just as much as when I'm doing something incredibly creative. The whole difference between this and the sculptural element is there's just a lot of numbers and parameters involved instead of just the purely visual aspect. This isn't a huge challenge. To wrap it up, it's just trimming away a certain area of the body rocker panels. That way I can lift it off, finish welding the cage, and paint it. So you can see, it's a secure environment for any race situation. That's the whole idea. Now I'll be able to get around the top of all these welds without the roof in place and paint it. Eastwood gave us this 2K Aero spray in chassis black. What you do with this, you push it in and it releases the activator. So it's like mixing in a mixing cup, but you just shake it. So this stuff should set up overnight. I got this thing nailed. I'm sure Mark will be back here expecting to work on the other thing, but I'm gonna show him this. It's been under the tarp for way too long. Should get him fired up. I was really intent on getting some progress on this thing by the time Mark got back. He hasn't seen this car in like a year. Hey.
Whoa!
Just in time, sir.
I leave the guy for a day and a half, and I come back, and bam, there he's got my Henry J out there.
I wanted to see some progress on this thing while you were here, you know?
Wow, I haven't seen this in a while.
Been about a year, right? He showed up, and he was just charged up. I mean, totally surprised. I think he almost forgot about it.
Yeah, that's looking Kick ass. We came down here to do something else, and now he's working on my other car that I haven't seen. I've forgotten all about it. He's put a roll cage in it, got flip front end on it.
I showed him this tilt nose that I made. He's totally digging it.
He just decided what looked right, and boy, I tell you, I come in here and look at that thing, and it's right.
I know you're all about getting that hot rod in the trailer and back home, but while you're here, you know, just for me, I want to keep projects spinning. This has been in the corner stagnant. I think if we spend one day on this, it'll be in a really good place.
Sure.
When Mark first dropped off the car, he brought in this fresh rebuilt rear end and an engine and transmission. So it was really just a bolt in.
New axles, new bearings, new everything, new true track in there, new gear set. So I'm hoping it's gonna be enough to turn these big tires that are on this old girl. Doesn't that remind you of a 70s car?
I think the last thing we need to do is just fit the engine and trans so we have an idea of how heavy they are, what that does to the front suspension, ride height especially.
I'm excited. It's been sitting here tarped up in one of the mini barns. It's a 454, dynoed at 502 horsepower. And so Ian now wants to mock that up in there, and I'm all for it. Let's see if this thing fits. Much like any other car, you know, you figure, well, let's just slide this engine in there and let's see how it's gonna go. Yeah, I think you're gonna see some issues. First one's gonna be that oil pan.
The Earl pan. Always something.
We're not far enough in to clear the Ford crossmember. We had to lift the body up, kind of shoehorn the engine in there, which is huge. It's just a monster engine inside this small little car. More issues. We're banging against the firewall, which has already been cut out a fair amount.
I don't have a problem getting the Sawzall right now, Mark.
Hey.
This is a massive engine. The car never dreamt it would have something like this installed, so I'm having to cut away the firewall. Prepare to operate.
So Ian cuts more of the firewall out, so now I have a huge gaping hole.
Mark is a little concerned about this, but this is what I do, you know? I'm just gonna cut it, make it right.
Actually, we're clearing it now. Just bring it down, Ian.
Dropping down, watch fingers.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Oh, look at the springs went way down. Okay, unhook it from the wheelie. The rear ride height looks great. I mean, that was already established, but I never saw it with an engine in it. I want to put the nose on. We've never seen it with the nose down attitude. It's always been
That's
light.
more of the stance, definitely.
Grab it right in the headlight shell. Aha!
That's it. The stance was perfect, exactly what I was looking for with the car. Ian, I'm stoked that you worked on this. I mean, I go away for a day and a bit, and I come back and, wow, I'm inspired again.
It's just what we do here, sir.
And then he goes, well, you know what? Let's throw a seat in there and see how it fits you. I'm game. Yeah. Is that not cool or what? This has been a dream come true for me to come down here and actually help out and work with Ian and see how he operates. That's what I got to say about this. Truly amazing.
Progress on the Henry J was right on the money. I couldn't have asked for a better response from Mark. But we need to get back on the hot rod and get that thing ready for Pomona. I sent Johnny a picture of the car, and he says he's coming out from Florida to see it in person. The whole mission here was to make this look like Johnny's artwork. He's really itching to see it, so I want to get it driving by the time he gets here. All we got to do is finish the wiring, got a few more parts to install, we're ready to go. Remember this?
That's what I sent you?
A little bit different than when we got here. The story with the front grille is it's an actual Model T piece that Mark had. He got it at a swap meet, but it only sort of resembles the drawing. What I did was I shortened it up from the bottom, I put an interior structure in it, and then found this really cool mesh at Industrial Metal Supply, and bodyworked it, painted it up.
I just gotta let you know that in aviation, the installation you've done on this bolt is incorrect.
What? What are you talking
It's supposed to be in the direction of flight. So, and when this thing starts to fly, it's gonna go that way.
Well, I'm pretty well versed in space travel and mechanics of that nature, and none of that applies to where we're going.
Okay, so we're just gonna do a little function check, see how good my wiring skills are, and see if we got fuel pump first. Sounds like we got fuel pump.
Mark's really been working it out, you know. I know he's a perfectionist, so he gets the fuel pump in, got all the lines ran.
As they say in helicopter world, clear.
Hits the key, starter's cranking.
I expected this thing to fire right up, just like it did when we first put it in the frame, but we're not getting anything. I say we got a firing order issue.
Call a mechanic, fire him.
Who wired this?
Glad I'm not in his helicopter.
Yeah. So we do the normal checks or whatever. We found some issues with the spark plug wires. This little center coil here has to be curled over, so it's making contact with the copper connector.
I predict as soon as he gets these wires connected, it's gonna light right up. I just know it.
If this don't work, I'm going home. Huh. Same issue. You know, you're heading to the goal line and all of a sudden, bam, you're stopped, you know, and it's frustrating. Oh, wait, whoa, whoa. The cap's turning this way.
Counterclockwise?
Yeah.
Strike one, plug wires. Strike two, distributor rotation.
What's going on?
Umpire's getting feisty, man. He's almost calling a third strike. And you're out.
Am I? Good. I've always worked on Chevys all my life. So what did I do? I just put it on the way I've done it for 30 some odd years. And of course, this thing turns counterclockwise, not clockwise. I'm ready when you are again, Mr. Roussel. We gotta get this thing running. Of course, there's the pressure, there's the deadline. That's always the way it is. Do I need to say a little prayer? Maybe for myself?
Totally works.
Awesome. We just squeaked it right through, you know, hit the key, the thing fired up. Okay, good. Who shows up? Johnny Jalopy.
The word is Johnny's on his way.
I think we're ready to show Johnny Jalopy.
Yeah.
Let's let him see his creation.
I agree, sir. The coolest factor about all this was that it was a collaboration, and that's what really pushes me. Having other input really makes it a cool thing. Aha.
Hey, man.
Hey, what's going on?
Cow.
What do you think about that?
You're kidding. Dude, finally got awesome to meet you,
brother.
man.
Good to meet you.
Mark.
Mark.
What's up, man? When I first walked in, I just went, are you kidding me? It's a machine now. It's like spot on to see something that was in my brain in front of me, you know, that I can touch and feel and smell and hear. Undescribable feeling of just amazement.
Yeah.
That dash came out so good.
Yeah, it's my dog's water bowl. He came in, and I don't know how he reacts to stuff, but it seemed like he was super charged up.
Killed it, man.
Right on.
That's awesome.
Cool.
It's exactly what I thought about was a little bus thing sitting on a tea bucket. How cool would it be to take one super crazy culture, the Volkswagen guys, and one crazy culture, the hot rod guys, and mesh that together and create something totally different. And a lot of people looking at my drawing always thought, nah, you can't do that. That's ridiculous. Well, he just did it.
I love the fact that your drawing was a VW bus, so I bought the headlights, Mark got the taillights.
I cannot wait to see this on the road and people going, what is that?
Yeah, this is kind of where we're at, man. We're still in final assembly. I gotta detail out the headlights,
Dude, I
put the
love
rest
it.
of the windows and the interior in. The whole thing here is to get this truck in the trailer and show it. So it was really cool to have Johnny here to work on the thing, because then he's like hands-on, you know, he gets to respect how much effort it took to pull this off.
But to be here and be able to touch it and work on it a little bit has been really cool.
Trying to get the last of these windows in. Took me a while to figure out how the driver's door window mechanism was gonna happen, but I nailed that. So Johnny's doing the simple fixed window in the back, and I'm getting the last windshield panel put in. Pretty straight ahead.
He says, did you say the easy back window?
I gave him the easy one to do. I handled all the challenging tasks. Installing windows is pretty challenging. I told Johnny what I needed from the rear portion, so it just takes time. I'm busy, I'll let him figure it out, and that's really the learning process.
I'll be here fussing with this.
While you go on to Victor.
Tell you what, let me
be here doing the hard time.
finish this up and I'll be right over to give you a hand with that.
Come around and bail me out. Maybe I've just done this a lot. I don't get it. You know, I just pulled the film right off and hey, that's it. It wasn't the case for Johnny.
Meanwhile, he's pulled 2 sheets of the plastic stuff off, and Johnny looks like a moron.
I'm quick, man.
Seriously? 45 minutes of me trying to get plastic off Lexan, and then Ian just comes over and rips it right off. What are you gonna do? Woo! Almost.
The last thing we needed was this upholstery. Hey, right on time.
Yeah, here's the rest of the stuff.
Perfect. Jack pushed this interior to the last minute. Johnny and Mark are gone. It's the night before the big show.
I was up all night, worked my fingers to
Yeah,
the
you
bone.
and me both, man.
Well, get busy.
Yes. Sure. It was pre-fit. All I had to do was screw it in place, and we're off. This thing's wrapped. This is a toy come to life. Mark is out of his mind. Johnny is totally charged up about this.
It's the coolest thing I ever seen. I'm stoked for Pomona.
I can't wait for that first reaction from people when they see it.
Up to this point, it's been a static piece. Johnny drew it, it's been sitting in the shop, but it's an actual car. It drives around. It's time to take it to the car show. We're out here at Pomona. It's a swap meet car show, biggest one in the world.
Shaka, good job.
Pomona, man, beautiful swap meet. I've been cruising around there this morning. Reaction on the car is all thumbs up.
Probably the coolest car at the swap meet today. And cool, and way different. You know, I love it.
I had never seen it outside the shop until today. So the windows absolutely glow in the sunlight, and it was like a beacon. People were hypnotized, they were drawn to it, and everybody was digging it.
Well, I would think that's probably one of the most unique hot rods I've seen out here in the 30 years I've come out here. There's lots of different things out here, but that one's truly unique.
It's the cartoon driving experience that, you know, if you own this, you'll have that, you'll achieve that. It's wonderful, man.
Do you know what Spaßhaber is? Guys who had fun with cars.
This journey has been awesome. It's definitely going down in the records as one of the best weeks I've ever spent down here.
The reaction, and it's a dream come true, and I'm almost speechless. I'm soaking it in. I can't wait to do more.
Victor shows up with the Boonie Bug I built. It has the chassis of the original VW bus. It's just so cool to see that original thrashed out VW bus rehabilitated into 2 new projects.
But that was the body that was on this car. So this is, you're looking at one car here. After seeing everything that Ian can achieve, if you can dream it, he could build it.
He's a master. He's one of the main reasons why I'm an aspiring fabricator myself. He's major talent.
This is kind of a step in a new direction for me because it's the wildest design I've ever worked on, and it was dictated by an artist. So it really makes me want to do more.